So Lucy Rohden confessed just a segment ago that she had cried twice, was it? Twice in traffic?
I cry a lot.
Was that your third fun fact? I don't think we ever got to your third fun fact.
My second fun fact, I own a jukebox. Isn't that cool?
David,
Terrible.
that is how you play
That's
the
a
game.
good fun fact.
That's a
It only
fun
plays
fact.
CDs, but it's very cool.
What's the CD? I'm just kidding.
I got it at an estate sale.
Oh, this is something I
Love
learned
estate
about
sales.
Lucy. She loves estate sales. So me and Lucy are about to be estate sale
What's estate
diving
sale?
this entire summer.
Like prowling
Is it a garage
the
sale?
dead,
What you
To
got-
dead
persons.
But is that a
stuff.
yard
Stuff.
sale?
no.
No.
What?
It's an so like
Like through Sotheby's?
Yeah. An estate sale is someone's estate. So somebody has died, and all their stuff is there, and I guess their family doesn't
Like in
want
Happy
it, or they don't know what to
Gilmore.
do it.
or they
Yeah.
don't have a will or like
Yeah.
no next of kin. So the state owns what is there and
Yeah.
they try to sell it.
But where
I'm
is
the
it?
buyer
At the
their
person's
house.
house.
How do you get notified? Is there a special notification?
Websites.
Lucy
I go
knows.
to like the estate sale website, and then I'll go look through the pictures and be like, "Ooh, I like their stuff," or they
very
have nice
dark.
style.
All
No,
the
it's
TikTok
really
girlies are
fun.
doing it. She's gonna show me how to do it because I've
It's
never done it.
Oh,
so
this is the
fun.
thing that young people are doing, because Lucy Rohden also is a young person.
Actually, I think it's more old people, but I'm always there.
Well, old
Like
people die.
Yeah,
It's trendy
they
for
die.
young
You
people
swoop
though.
in.
Yeah, young people are getting into it, and it's so fun. It's like one of my favorite hobbies because you'll just go look through all this person's stuff, and some people have lived really cool lives, and you get to take part of that.
Not take part in it, just take part
Take
of
it,
it.
like literally take it.
You get to appropriate their accomplishments?
Yeah.
So like if you take a trophy, a tennis tournament trophy from their
Wait, you're
childhood.
worried about stolen valor here?
Yes. 100.
Whose
That's the first
jukebox
thing that
was
occurred
it?
to me.
I don't know.
So
they
these aren't
had-
famous people.
No, just
just-
some random people. They had cool stuff. I also got a gumball machine.
Because you were going to ones in LA where there's a lot of
Are
like.
you decorating a Fudruckers? What is happening?
Okay, it pretty much looks like that. I got the gumball. I got the gumball machine, and I filled it with mini little disco balls.
I haven't thought about Fudruckers in years. What a way to remember Fudruckers.
It does. My apartment does kind of look like a Fudruckers.
That Lucy is the funnest person in this whole goddamn building.
Oh my
is what
God,
I've learned
stop.
from
Keep
these
saying
facts.
nice things about me.
So the tears, though, were making me think about the last time that the rest of us have cried.
I cry all the time. I'm not good for this.
Okay, Lucy's crying all of the time. Jess might cry at the outcome of this tennis match, which you will definitely want to follow along exclusively in audio.
This is going to be over by the time people listen, but if you're not watching Wimbledon, this Chris Eubanks, who's from Atlanta, he played at Georgia Tech. He is so good. He's about to make it to the quarterfinals of Wimbledon, playing against the number 5 seeded player, Tsitsipas, which is the Greek guy that Mike Ryan always says his name very slowly because he's afraid he's going to get it wrong.
Yes,
Tsitsipas.
Tsitsipas, who beat Andy Murray.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's such. He has a like 6'6" wingspan. He's so fun to watch. His serve is crazy, and it's such a great story. I am loving Wimbledon this year, folks.
It's been really good for the show, for Pablo, and for me to look across. And I feel like Jessica's totally engaged in what we're talking about because she's gesticulating in various ways. And it's according to the rhythm of something that is not relevant to the show whatsoever.
I mean, it's sports.
But you're acting.
I'm the only one who watched sports this weekend. I came in
It
this
is
morning.
true.
I said
Admittedly,
the
it is
Women's
true.
U.S. Open was at Pebble Beach for the first time in history. It was so fun to watch. An American player from Hawaii won.
Part
Alison
Filipino.
Corpus.
Yep.
She
My dad
was
texted me.
Just unbelievably
not
overcome
watch
with
it, though.
emotion yesterday evening. It's a really big deal for women's golf that they were able to play at Pebble Beach. The women's majors don't tend to get the same billing as the men's majors. They don't get the same purses. This was the biggest purse in U.S. women's history, U.S. Open women's golf history. It was $11 million. She tripled her career earnings in 1 weekend.
Damn right she did.
And played really well.
Filipino.
I mean, it was a great tournament to watch. It was really exciting fun. We covered it on Off the Looking Glass, I think last week or the week before. And our producer actually tried to qualify to play in it because she's a former LPGA player, Anya Alvarez. So it was really exciting, like culmination of a lot of weeks. Yeah, she didn't make it, unfortunately, but like she really wanted to try to play because it's a big deal. Pebble Beach they've hosted 7 men's majors and a PGA championship, I believe. They've never had a U.S. Open there for the women. So It was awesome to watch. I watched so much Wimbledon this weekend. There were tons of great storylines. The British Grand Prix was on Sunday morning. That was a super exciting race. McLaren is back. And I walked in and I had all of this, and you guys were like, well, let's talk about what Amin did at White Castle.
Well, the Marlins also took 2 out of 3 against the Phillies. Don't sleep on that. I mean, jeez.
I went to that game.
I went to one of those games.
You went to
too.
Marlins
You went
Park?
to a Marlins game?
I went to a Marlins game with my
No,
dad and
but-
my brother.
Wow.
I thought you wanted to be like a Miamian, like do things that people in Miami do.
Oh, that's
oh my God,
just
it was
terrible.
crazy.
You don't do that.
Okay, so the
Crowds
Marlins,
have actually been good.
No, it was all Phillies fans. There was like 4 Marlins fans there.
Whoa. It always. I hate when people do this. You see a good amount of Phillies. It's still like 15% or
No,
10%.
it was all
David,
of it.
give the numbers. It always feels. You see a lot of
I
red
believe
around.
Lucy.
It's not actually 50%.
Just for Phillies, it's way more than 50%.
Told you.
I
Dude,
believe the
I was
person who's
there-
not wearing a Marlins cap
I was
right
there
now.
yesterday. There was a lot of Phillies fans. It is not 50%.
Because
was
you have to think
70.
about the number of season ticket holders is really low. So let's say it's 7,000 at most, but it's really fewer than that. When you're getting crowds in-house of 15 to 20, the majority of that is going to be opponent-related, and that's why
It also could
happens-
be the team being good related.
Well, so tell me, what was the best thing about Marlins Park?
Not the best thing, but maybe one of the worst things. I walked around that stadium. Sorry,
That's
I
the
want to talk
opposite
about
for-
this. I walked around the stadium forever looking for a good stadium lemonade and could not find one. I was so
Lemonade?
upset. Yeah.
I've never heard that
Yeah,
as
like
a
when you
request
go to
from
like a
anyone
little,
before.
when you go get
just
the
what
little
everyone
lemonade
wants, a hot dog and some
stand at
lemonade.
a baseball game, and there was no good lemonade stand. We walked around the whole thing.
I haven't had lemonade since I was like 3.
A
You're missing
full
out.
lemonade stand is what you're expecting at a ballpark?
Yes.
That sells nothing but lemonade.
They
Are we
could
talking
sell pretzels,
frozen lemonade?
too.
Because I can get with some frozen lemonade. Are we
Any
talking
type
frozen?
of lemonade.
How about frosé?
They had a frozen lemonade spot, but they were all out of lemonade. I was furious.
If you came to me with a suggestion while building Marlins Park and figuring out where all the concession stands were going to be, that there was going to be a lemonade stand.
I do now appreciate that Lucy has unknowingly been talking to the Willy Wonka of Marlins Park, who designed it for all of these needs and specifications, only to realize that you have been sorely disappointed by the magic that he has constructed.
no lemonade. That's all I wanted.
In your face.
We were driving there, and I literally was like, I am so excited for the lemonade I'm going to have today.
But what'd you like about the ballpark?
That's a great question as well. The seats were really good, and it was cold. It was cold
All right,
in
she
there.
hated it.
It
Yeah.
was cold in there, which was really
This has gone
nice.
very badly.
The
It's
seats
amazing,
were
actually.
good.
The seats are good 'cause
Introduction
no
to
one was
Marlins
there.
baseball.
Lucy, I'm just going to ask you in a separate way. How were the sight lines?
Oh, God.
Like seeing the city? Is that what you're talking about?
No, the sight lines for you watching the action.
What about the
from
time
where
that you
the
may have
seats
needed
were?
to wait to use a women's restroom compared to where you were sitting, which could be,
Great question.
yeah, very.
It was probably like a minute, because we had seats that were they were good seats. My dad's hey, if I'm going to a game, I need good seats type of guy. It was probably like a minute and a half walk for me to the bathroom, which was nice.
I'm also that kind of guy. If I'm gonna go through all
Yeah.
the trouble, give me some decent.
And if you're
seats.
gonna sit behind home plate at a Marlins game, I mean, you can at least cough up $30, right?
Speaking of coughing, is David Samson okay?
Yes, I'm fine. I figured out a fun fact that I'd like to present to the crowd. Here's a fun fact. Every seat at Marlins Park is aimed toward right in front of the pitcher's mound. The sight line goes to right in front of the pitcher's mound, not to home plate, not to second base.
Wait a minute. So you just asked her that, so she would say it's the best sight line I've ever seen.
I wanted her to
100%.
say that the angle of my seat,
1,000,000%.
that what I was looking at, I could see the game better than any other stadium.
At old Marlins Park, you'd be like facing this way,
You'd be
and the
facing
home
the
plate would
wrong
be like
way.
that way.
The thing I love about
It'd be
Wrigley
like-
Field is when you show up and you end up sitting behind a pole and you can't see anything, but you're like, I don't care, I'm at Wrigley Field. I'm gonna have
charm
an old
of
style
Wrigley.
and eat a crappy hot dog, and it doesn't matter.
They have to call that an obstructed seat by law. So I assume your ticket.
Yeah, when you go on StubHub, it's like, here's your view of the seats, and there's a pole right there. It's great.
true. That's
I love
Wrigley.
it. It's the charm.
No, you don't choose the obstructed seat.
Why not?
When you have other, when you
It's a
have
big
other,
baseball field. Like I can look a lot of places.
I'm going to do a lap anyway.
I was gonna say now, if you
Pitch
like
count.
to do a lap, if you like to roam,
Love
it's
a
a great
ballpark
deal.
lap. Love a
yeah,
The
ballpark
me
lap is
too.
going to take up like 4.5 innings now
Yep.
because of the pitch clock. So
it's a different world now in terms of speed of game.
that's
the
true.
lap
Right,
time, you have
right.
to go faster.
You get back, it's like the top of the 7th. If you like left in like the second or third inning, you make a full lap around. It's like, what the? It's good. I like it. It's like, wow, we're almost home.
It's why concession lines are a much bigger deal now.
Right.
Because
right,
fans
right.
are missing. Usually you go to a concession line, have the worst line ever, go back to your seat, you've missed an out.
That's why these T-shirt cannons, these hot dog cannons need to fire faster.
No, the
Higher
in-between inning
velocity.
break is still the same. It's still 2:30s. So there's still the same amount of in-game entertainment. That's not it. It's the concession lines while the game's going on. No fan wants to go get a dog and a beer and come back and have missed 3 innings.
Or a lemonade.
That is out of the question.
So now that we're just interrogating Lucy. Lucy, you came from where? You landed in Miami, and you're now exploring this world, but you came from where?
Well, Pablo, my parents met about 30 years ago.
And when two people love each other.
I moved here from Los Angeles.
And 2 people have a 0-0 tie in tennis.
They're divorced now, so it's not a happy story. But I moved here from Los Angeles.
Oh.
Well, Dan would definitely ask you a follow-up on that, but Pablo won't. So
Yeah,
you're
no,
in
I'm
good
like,
hands
yeah, I'm
today.
good on the potential trauma in that.
Yeah, it's not that fun.
Another coastal elite joining the fray.
Mm.
Sorry, listeners.
I'm not from Los Angeles. I just lived there for 2 years. I'm
Oh,
from
yeah.
North Carolina.
No, Lucy needs to be Meadowlark Media's Real America correspondent. Because
went
you
to
come
college in
from
Iowa.
Went to Iowa.
Yes.
That's-
There's
as
nothing
America's
more
it gets.
America than Iowa.
Yeah.
Why'd you choose Iowa?
That's where my dad went to school. I didn't just wake up and be like, I want to live in Iowa
Do like
today.
a dartboard, like a dart and a dartboard, and like, all right.
Did he
Iowa.
demand you go to Iowa for him to pay for your school?
He did not want me to go to Iowa. I had my brother goes there now. We all had a great time. It's a huge party school. I very much got to campus and realized why he did not want me going to Iowa.
Why isn't that one of your fun facts?
I don't think it's that fun.
David, you
got an
don't know
extra
how
two.
to.
David, what did
the
you?
jukebox
We
way more
just saw
My
the
dad
tooth.
didn't want me to go to Iowa. Is a fun fact.
No,
for you?
that it's the biggest party school.
It's
well,
not the
that's-
and that I'm not a
That's a
partier.
fun fact about Iowa, not about Lucy.
Yeah.
A fun fact would be that she decided to go to Iowa not by a dartboard, but by rolling a skee ball.
I've spent years trying to separate myself from my reputation as a baseball-only executive.
You could have stopped that reputation, but continue.
5, 4, 3. Just because you're in that chair doesn't mean you have to
The
act that way.
power of this chair is intoxicating.
You put the arm up on that mic and you just.
Oh, yeah, the
become
lean.
Dan.
The lean. I don't see the lotion. I was looking for it.
He brought it.
I
with
had
him.
it removed.
Took it with him. Yeah.
I had it removed. I was not
Where's that
comfortable.
giant pole that he plays with sometimes? Oh,
That got
There it
removed
is.
also.
For the youtube.com/LeBatard and friends.
what is that?
Audience,
It's like a pole vault that Dan like stretches his back.
Please don't hit
with or
Lucy in the
something?
face with it as you
It
wind
is
around.
very
It's a javelin.
Weapon-like.
Yep.
So I have tried very hard to. That's
Does it
horrific.
feel
I don't think
good?
I'm using it right.
Please don't do that. You're going to get hurt, and that's a worker's comp. And watch, you almost hit her. Please put it down.
David's like, please.
You're losing. It's kind of off the rails, Pablo. Nope. Look, he almost hit Lucy.
She doesn't
Yeah.
have health
I love how
insurance yet
nervous,
either.
like a
For the
nervous
audio
dad
audience,
David just became. He's like, guys,
this
please.
pole is flying everywhere.
Maybe if you hit Lucy in the face, her extra tooth will fall out. It'll kill two
Or
birds
an
with one
ice
stone.
skate like Castaway.
Oh, God.
Wait,
All
I
right.
can
Please pick it
actually.
back up.
You can remove that.
What are we
4,
doing?
3, 1.
We're leaving it.
I am not thrilled with the fact that we have gone through a lot of the show today, and I've been
Yes.
trying to
So
talk
much
about
show, flying by.
where we are in the baseball calendar.
Where are we?
It's the home run derby tonight. It's the All-Star game tomorrow. This used to be where baseball ruled. Then the WNBA started, so we can't say there's no sporting events. Then Summer League became a thing, and now people are focused on the Summer League, and Adam Silver is in his little cave saying,
Yeah,
look at you, Rob Manfred, I screwed you. And Rob said, wait, we'll do the draft. And then people didn't care.
Yep.
So
There
we
was
haven't said a
the-
word.
Nobody even knows the
That
MLB draft
orb.
happened.
Remember the orb we talked about? That's there. We're talking about that.
Right?
What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the fact that it's the All-Star break, and not only is our hometown team one of the best teams in all of baseball, and maybe even better than the Heat and Panthers were,
Be careful.
maybe even better.
You're talking like they're going to be in the World Series then.
This is a team that has just as good a chance to be in the World Series as the Panthers and Heat did of being in the finals. So for you to dismiss that willy-nilly is a lack of watching the Marlins play.
My Nilly is extraordinarily willy.
The Marlins have done that without their ace, too.
They have different aces.
Sandy has. I mean, I know Jesus has been good, but Sandy has
hold
not
on.
been good.
Please allow me a basic question then. I have watched 0 seconds of Marlins baseball. Why should I care?
Because they play a kind of baseball that will remind you of what it was like to be with your dad. They are playing small ball. They have a player at the top of their lineup named Luis Rohden who has a chance to hit 400. No one's done that since Ted Williams. Then there are people behind him who have not been altogether a very good offense, who are actually driving him in, and the Marlins are scoring runs when they weren't. They have a new manager named Skip Schumacher who took over for a legend, Don Mattingly, and is getting the most out of this team. They have a pitching staff that every day you have a chance to win a game. And now they've got the 4th or 5th best record in all of baseball heading into the break. Fans are beginning to come. It's the one, I have a napkin that I should show you, which was a quadrant napkin where at Marlins Park, we've never had winning. And I want to know what happens to attendance when there's winning. There's never been winning the way there could be this year. There will never be lemonade.
I'm not going.
But
This
there
is the
may
weirdest
be winning.
stump speech ever. But proceed.
Weird because you can't believe I love the Marlins, or I'm happy there's winning.
Simply because your excitement here is palpable, and also for me in the context of it's All-Star Weekend, confusing because you want us to take this break to celebrate what?
Baseball. First of all, not only do I want you to celebrate baseball, but Lucy, I want you to know, you may not be aware, the pride that I personally feel when you say that you got to go with your dad and brother to a game. Without Marlins Park, that would not have been on your entertainment option this trip.
It was the only thing my dad wanted to do while he was here.
I'm honestly surprised that you're actually buying into them, because you can look at their run differential, you can look at their offense. Like, if you just look at the guys outside of Arise, it doesn't blow you away.
They have an it
Their
factor.
schedule has been easy.
True.
Their August is insanely tough. I'm not saying I don't believe. It's just I would be expecting you to be a little bit more pessimistic.
I want it to be true because I want them to win at Marlins Park, because then that will get Marlins Park more attention and it will make Jeter look worse.
Okay.
That's the fun
So-
question, though. What is Jeter thinking right now as he left, or did he get? Was it
Fired.
Right. That's like, I don't know. There, like, was he
Fired.
Did he decide to leave, or
No. He resigned 1 second after he got fired.
It's a great move, by the way.
Do you think he's sitting there when he's texting with his friends? Like, I put this, like, in his mind, when he's, like, defending himself to his friends, do you think he kind of takes credit for, like, look at what I planted?
I had to do this when people thought that Dombrowski was the 03 architect of the World Series. So to this day, I have to deal with Dombrowski didn't get Juan Pierre or Pudge or Encarnacion or Conine, and I'll go through the full list, or Mark Redmond or Ugueth Urbina. So I have a ready list. I don't know if you've heard of any of these players.
Oh, of course.
But this is what
They
Derek
did
Jeter's
trade
doing.
for Conine late in that 03 year, though.
August 31st.
Oh, so you guys were still there for that? Wait, no.
In 03?
Yeah.
I started in 02
Oh, my bad.
and left in
I had a moment.
17.
Go ahead.
So Jeter right now is for sure saying, this is all me. I did all this. But in fact, he didn't.
So this is like, I was going to say, this is like a Field of Dreams thing for you in that you built it and finally people are showing up. But now I'm just realizing it's just straight up resentment of Derek Jeter.
Not resentment. It's thrill that he will be viewed in the way that I knew he'd be viewed on this show. When he came in, I let you all know that A, he's never going to stay for 5 years, and B, he's not going to be helpful to your team in the just don't be Samson was his whole plan of action. And by the way, they're about to trade everybody. But now it all came true. But Lucy got to go to a game. And we've spent the whole day not talking about the Derby or the All-Star game, which are two fun events.
That's not quite true. Tony was briefly intrigued by
I'm intrigued.
Might be.
home run
I might
derby.
be. If you can convince me to watch today, I'll watch.
What are your other choices?
Living life, going
Season
out.
2 of The Bear. Have you guys seen
Ooh,
that?
I'm waiting for that.
It's really
Guys,
good.
it's better
in my
than
queue.
season 1.
I think it's better.
It made me cry several times, incidentally.
Episode 6?
Loser.
The dinner party and then the Richie episode. Spoiler alert. I'll share no more details other than that. But in some ways, it felt like, as much as I loved Succession, this was the opposite insofar it was a show about people who maybe, at least one person who actually maybe could change, who actually maybe did commit to being better and actually stuck the landing. And I will not share further details, but
We had
God,
a
I
whole
love that
discussion
episode.
while you weren't here about wet spoiler alerts, and when things come out on a weekly basis,
Right, the
you can wait
binge
2
versus,
weeks. But the binge is a much longer wait before spoiling. I spent some time this weekend trying to understand that because it's not intuitive to me.
Because you watch more things than any person that I know.
I do watch every day something.
Because you can't sleep.
I just
a
have
fun
more
fact about
hours
you.
in the day.
That's a better fun fact than I'm good at
It's kind of a sad fact.
sports.
The NFL Twitter account just tweeted, "Fun fact: Christian Wilkins can juggle." That's a good fun fact.
Yeah, that's a classic fun fact.
I can juggle. I
Me
should
too.
have used
We don't
that.
believe
too.
you.
Oh, I can juggle.
Wait, so you
Can we
and
give
I
him some
both
objects?
we
We
have
have
to have a
3
juggle
minutes and
off.
50
Me and you have to have a
seconds
ping
left.
pong and juggle off.
Do you really think you can beat me at ping pong?
I'm very good at
I
ping
wanna
pong.
Can
watch
someone
that.
come
Have
in
you
here with
played
some
him ping pong?
literal balls?
Anybody-
I played him
here.
in pickleball, and he.
I
kinda
had a
sucked
table
that.
at my house
That was
forever,
forceful, you know that.
and I was really good at. That was my first time playing, and I thought I was pretty good.
Do you play with your dad?
Yeah, and you guys lost.
Yeah, I
11-1.
beat him.
Did he ever beat you?
My
though?
brother's a little better than me, actually.
But did your dad ever beat you? And then the moment you beat him, I remember the first time I ever beat my dad at ping pong. It was a major moment
It was.
How did you celebrate that?
with myself. Like I wanted to beat him so badly, and
You didn't rub it in.
in our family we don't try to lose. One of the things I had an argument with my ex-wife is that I wouldn't let my kids win anything. War, Stratego, Risk, Monopoly. Like I wanted to win every game. And my kids now are old enough where they look back and they view that as a positive because it made them want to get better because all they wanted to do was beat me.
I had that I had that issue with my dad with a lot of things: basketball, golf, ping pong. I couldn't remember.
What's Greg Cody like on the court?
In basketball, now basketball was when I was like in 16,
just
15
coughs.
range. He was, we had some competitive games when I was like in that 15 to 16 range. We had some. It was like I can relate to everything he's talking
But
about.
give me the scouting report.
I mean, he's
If
just
I'm trying to
he's
defend Greg
he's got
Cody,
a little
what's
bit
he
of a
doing?
shot. Like,
Goes to his right.
There's nothing real impressive about the game.
Old man game.
That
It was
kinda
just
thing.
Dribbles with his palm.
Right.
But he wasn't always old.
No, he
What
could
you're
shoot a little
Yes,
bit.
he was.
Yeah, I disagree.
The Codys
was
can
always
shoot.
old.
The Codys can shoot a little bit.
Cody's can shoot.
That's all they can do on the basketball court.
Set shot?
Yeah.
So
Tony
one-on-one, you just stop, Chris? Your one-on-one game against your dad is not driving
A lot
to
of
the hole?
jumpers in our
It's
one-on-one
just
games.
you stop?
I'm not finishing around the hoop a lot.
Is
Look
that
at me.
because you're out of shape at that time?
No,
or-
thank you, but no. It was more just I can't finish around the hoop. Like I was the guy like in rec basketball. I was always going to the hoop, and then I would try to like create the contact myself. So I would like do like and then like miss the layup, and there'd be no contact, no foul call, and I would just look like an idiot.
I'm picturing Philip Seymour Hoffman in Along Came Polly.
Make it rain.
Rain dance.
Creating the contact. And one.
Just really wanting the foul call, driving with the intentions of hearing a whistle. You never get those. Yeah, you don't.
But you didn't play with referees.
Because they're
No,
literally
I did. I played
weren't
rec ball. I even made a travel
whistles.
team. I'm telling you, it's pretty decent at most sports.
As the only person in this room who once raced Chris Cody, I can testify. One fun fact about Chris Cody is that he does have way more athleticism than you would
Did he beat you in a race?
Except at
Chris
pickleball.
beat everybody at a race. Like a bat out of hell.
Not everybody.
I'll be gone when the morning comes. I would not imagine that he would be able to beat you in a road race.
Yeah.
Was it distance?
Fast.
I don't know.
Chris.
That was probably 20 pounds ago. Who knows if I could now? Have you run any? Have you got any?
No, I retired after that,
Yeah.
actually.
Maybe I'd still beat him then.
I don't picture you able to get any speed of any kind because with your personality.
And
I
yet you
picture-
thought he could beat me in a race.
Well, this is
Thank
where
you,
I'm
David.
saying
Wait,
you
let's
are at the
finish that
moment.
sentence.
Yeah, hold on. I'm being negged, guys.
Because your head is so big, you would just topple over. Is that what you were saying?
No, I'm saying the way you manifest the way you walk around, you're just very blasé. You're not paying attention. You're
Jangly.
not- I don't
Stoned looking?
that. So I can't imagine
I was
that
guessing,
your
but
start
apparently
speed
that
is
is
very
what he
good.
meant.
The glove.
I don't feel like you have the
Fits.
ability to gain speed or have underway speed. There's two types of
I
speed.
don't opt into it.
Only if you're chased.
Well,
Then you opt into speed.
I tend to avoid the need. I tend to agree with whatever racist theory my Uber driver is
Let's talk to
offering,
Kevin
as well
Millar.
as-
What's Dan doing here?
Whoa!
Always enjoyed watching this guy and talking to him when he played for the Marlins. David Samson traded him. Does anyone in the other room want to guess what Kevin Millar was traded for or who Kevin Millar was traded for? Do you guys want to guess the transaction?
Oh man, this was like a trivia question. It's being asked to us right now, and I knew there was something funny, but I forgot. I'm
Can
sorry.
of corn?
Millar, actually less than that, because I don't think you can get a can of corn for $1.
Can of corn's a fly
so
ball.
Wes Helms was also for $1.
He was traded for
dollar?
a single dollar.
A dollar?
A big fat dollar.
Were you trying to make a
One.
point? Wait, what's?
We were trying to get rid of his salary. And Boston, people may not remember this, but Kevin, you were going to go to Japan. And we sold you to
Shinichi?
Japan and collected
Yeah.
that money too. And then you didn't go, and we had to do a whole settlement. And then we moved you to Boston for $1. You're welcome.
Hey, you're welcome. You got Todd Hollingsworth. Let's go. So they wanted to get Todd Hollingsworth instead of Kevin Millar, which is a great decision because I was definitely the weak link, Danny, as you know that. I couldn't run, field, hit, or throw. So I totally get it. But I want to know, did you get your 75-cent change back for the dollar? Because it should have been a quarter.
The minimum transaction in baseball is $1. You can't do it for a quarter because we would have tried.
Is there an insult there for you, Kevin, when it happened? When you or were you just so grateful to be just staying in the major leagues and going to the Red Sox that it didn't matter, that the transaction forever will be David Samson traded me for $1?
Yeah, this is the greatest thing ever because I didn't know exactly it was $1. I knew this. I was non-tendered. I was going to be non-tendered. There was a cesspool of guys like David Ortiz he's a young man that hit from the left side. They call him Big Papi. Was David Arias and David Ortiz and then Big Papi. So there you have it. But he was non-tendered from the Twins. You had like this cesspool of dudes all within that 15 to 20 home runs. Robert Fick was with the Tigers. Remember Lee with the Phillies. It was a Travis Lee. So all of these things. So then I'm not that great of a player. I'm not Sammy Sosa or Barry Bonds. And all of a sudden, everybody that's kind of agreed to go overseas, there's never been a guy claimed off of waivers. So here's Theo Epstein, his first year as a 29-year-old GM, claimed Kevin Millar off of waivers, as all 29 other teams get a chance to. But everybody that goes overseas never gets claimed because it's not going to hurt anybody and whatever. And this has happened. And I'm like, what just happened? So now we are in a get out of the contract, stay in the States, play for the Red Sox. Next thing you know, I don't know what's going on. I know John Henry owned the team before David and Loria came in there and bought the team back in, 08 or 98? And then this whole thing happened. And I'm like, wait a minute, it got weird. But thank God, on Valentine's Day, I got my truck from Beaumont, Texas. It got done, and the deal was done. And I headed to Fort Myers, Florida. And next thing you know, Sox Nation for life, 86 years, Danny. You guys won a couple World Series in Florida, and the Yankees have only won one. So the curse is now on them because we've gotten 4 rings in Sox Nation to their 1. Back to you.
Yeah. The interesting thing, Kevin, is you were the first player where it ever happened that another team claimed a player. The way it works when a player wants to play in Japan is there's an understanding amongst the other 29 teams that you will not claim the player because the way to get him off your roster is you have to send him through waivers, and then any team can claim him. But there's a note that accompanies Kevin Millar has an agreement to play in Japan, and you don't claim him. And Theo put in a claim on Millar. We got called into the commissioner's office. Your agent, Kevin, got involved because all of a sudden, wait a minute, there's interest with another major league team. I don't want to go to Japan anymore. Meanwhile, Japan was pissed off because they wanted you. We didn't want you. Theo wanted you. And we ended up figuring it all out where we made money. You got to Boston, and you didn't have to go to Japan. And Theo got what he wanted, which was a slap on the wrist for claiming you, which he shouldn't have, but he ended up getting the player.
So he broke protocol. Yeah, and they won a championship.
It's never been broken like that since.
That was
It's
the first
unheard
time,
of.
first and only time.
It's unheard of what Theo did with Kevin Millar.
And half the player. Like, I understood if that would have happened, and I'm being honest. Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, I use an example because, listen, I was an okay player coming off back-to-back 300 years with the Florida Marlins. So Theo Epstein's going, hey, I understand the on-base percentage. This is before all that stuff started coming out, right? I was a scrappy little offensive player. But at the end of the day, is it worth a 6-week battle? By the way, I think it was Oakland and Seattle were supposed to play in Japan. So we were going to threaten Major League Baseball to cancel that game. Now, all of this was because of Shinichi not letting me have this verbal contract because I got claimed. And it was so weird. It got hairy. And Larry Lucchino at that point was president with the Red Sox. he was the only one that probably wasn't on board. Like, all right, we're done with this dude. He's not that good of a player anyways. Let's back out. But at that point, I thought I was almost not going to have a job because Shinichi was fed up with it. Red Sox were getting fed up with it.
And we
Dave
wouldn't have you
Samson
back.
was getting into cross country, running. And so Dave Samson was worried about what shoes he was going to wear to run 26 miles. And I'm over here going, whoa, guys. I'm just a dude. I want to get in my truck and head to Boston and break an 86-year curse. Back to you again, Dave.
But generally speaking, though, culturally, the Japanese do not abide the breaking of a word. That is not like you must have really angered them.
You know what? When I say we, Major League Baseball, remember the Dodgers had the third baseman that he came over. They paid a lot of money, and then he didn't like it over here. And then so they let him out to go back to Japan. That had happened a little bit before my situation. So that was our little, cushion. Like, all right, here, listen, we let you guys out. You got to let Millar out. So that was the only thing that we had a little bit of, hey, the Dodgers just let one of your dudes out. How are you not going to let Millar out? It all worked out. But it was a really crazy, very, very interesting going through this thing. I had to sit in front of the president of the league in New York. I had Seth and Sam Levinson, which is my agents, were aces. And it was just 6 weeks of crazy hours. Japan, our hours in Beaumont, Texas at that time. It was like weird.
Kevin, I want to remind you of a conversation we had during this process where I was telling you that there was no scenario where you're back with the Marlins, but if you do not accept this deal with Japan, you understand you can never go back again. Because at the time, you didn't know about the 86-year curse being broken. You didn't know you were going to be a part of what you were a part of. And we had a conversation saying, just beware of what you're doing right now by wanting to change your mind and go to Boston, that you're closing the door, which was open to players of your ilk to make money longer than in theory they could make in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, no, Sam, I remember. And I'm a relationship dude, right? You know how it gets, like ownership and players and, oh, yeah, we can't really, you got to talk to my agent. I'm never that dude, right? I was always the guy to talk. And so you and I had conversations. I understood that this is a business, but yeah, I didn't know what it was going to be like to play for the Red Sox and be able to be a part of that. Obviously, at that time, it was just a scary situation because no one really knew. This was the first time, and that was the truth. Now you got some knowledge, but at that moment, I was the first player that was claimed off waivers, and it was a weird deal. And Danny, we learn something in this game all the time, but this is like, what's going on?
Enough reminiscing about a transaction for $1 25 years ago. You can watch Kevin on MLB Network's Intentional Talk live from the Home Run Derby tonight and the All-Star Game in Seattle, 5 p.m. tomorrow as well. I appreciate you being on with us, and I wanted to know what it's like for you in Boston now. Are you somebody who can still walk in anywhere in Boston without having to pay for anything?
Yeah, it's a listen, I was just there with my family this last week. We were watching the Fight and Fish play that swept the Red Sox. They were very bullyish, treating the Red Sox the way that was. But I will say this, wonderful city to this day. It really is a lot of thank yous, a lot of stories, a lot of my grandfather, my dad. So you appreciate that. I've always appreciated that. You didn't before you played for them. I mean, listen, I grew up in Los Angeles, listening to Vin Scully. I went to Dodger games, eating Dodger dogs, and had the CB radio with my dad listening to Scully every day. So that was the only voice and team that I was just passionate about. Here I am on the East Coast my entire career, and I realized why. East Coast mentality, love that passion, love the fan base, love the bad, the bad articles, the bad times, the tough times. It makes you tougher, It'll put some guys in some tears. You remember Edgar Renteria, like he got traded over there. And in 05, it was a sad deal. He gets, hitting 180 in April. And I was holding him like in my arms and say, hey, dude, boo me instead of Edgar Renteria. He's too good of a player to boo, but you grow. And to this day, yes, it's a great place to visit. There's Jack Daniel shots all the time, it seems like. And Italian food, you get the check picked up by the owner, Nick Veranos. I'm like, I want to pay. I don't want to feel like that guy. So they treat you great to this day.
You threw that down, the Jack Daniels shots. This is not reminiscing. Kevin Millar is famous for leading the charge of drinking and playing.
During playoff games, before playoff games, all of the Red Sox would do shots before World Series games, right?
Yeah. The exact story is this. now that I can't get in trouble because I got in trouble, but really it was a misty night, game 6. It was crazy. You know, they play Yankeeography when the Yankees hit, they're playing rap music and you're all hyped. And then we get up to hit and here comes Yogi Berra, Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, Posada. And I was like, no. So I went in and said, hey, dude, we're going to hit in the cages, Tito. So Tito's like, yeah, sure, or whatever we want. Well, as I'm walking by his office to say that we're not hitting on the field, and, you know, Red Sox Yankees at that time was like Super Bowl. It was like an event. So now we're the Red Sox. We're in the cages hitting. But as I was walking by, there's a huge bottle of Jack Daniels in Lou Kakuza's office, who is the clubhouse manager. I grabbed this Jack, and about 6:40 for a 7:05 game, I start pouring shots in these little Gatorade cups. And, you know, we all, okay, here we go. Boom. Well, we win. Well, guess what we got to do game 7?
Yep.
Shots of Jack. We win. What do we do in game 1, 2, 3, and 4 with St. Louis? We sweep. So we're 6-0. But the point of this is that John Sally, Chris Rose, Best Damn Sports Show, I'm doing a satellite after we win 86 years. Oh my God, the Red Sox shocked the world. Yeah, we did shots. Yeah, okay, great. I land in Texas and I had 75 voicemails. And Peter Gammons, I had like Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Oh, no.
How do you drink when you play? You're promoting. I'm like, what is going on? This was a skit. No one's drunk. No one's, disrespecting baseball. So now Francona's calling me going, hey, dude, you can't tell my drink because now I'll get fired in Major League Baseball. I'm like, oh my, it almost turned into a debacle 48 hours after we shocked the world and brought a championship to the city. But yes, Peter Gammons said, use the word symbolic toast. So we did symbolic toast, shots, symbolic toast before every game.
How stiffly baseball is that? Knocking the fun out of everything. Millar, thank you. You can catch him. Intentional Talk, as I said. Home Run Derby is tonight. All-Star game in Seattle. 5 p.m. Eastern is the start time on the Home Run Derby tonight. Thank you, sir.
All right, boys. Thanks.